that they can draw bars. Okay, here's the next one you're going to add to this. The next one is Peter had some candy. He had more than Sarah. So what are we going to do? P for Peter. He had some candy. How's his bar going to be?
Bigger.
Bigger. But I'm actually going to draw Sarah, and then I'm going to actually draw some more to Sarah.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
You with me?
Yep.
Okay. And I would do this over and over and over, and still teach, but just have 5 or 10 minutes where you're just like teaching this, just giving them like things. Okay, well now, all right, let's start all over. Let's say that Sarah had some candy. Erase Peter. Sarah had some candy. She ate some. What would you do? She ate some. And you can't erase. You can't erase. Yes, that's exactly what you would do. Good. So she had some. Did she eat it all? No, so she ate some. We don't know how much that is. They could divide it in half, but you cross off the part that she ate because she ate it. You could shade it. If you want to do fractions, get them into that. Whatever you want to do, something that shows she ate it, okay? So let's go to, all right, keep Sarah. Mike has 3 times more than Sarah. Excellent. Okay, you want your continuous bar. So here's Mike, M for Mike. You draw Sarah 3 times. 3 times you draw Sarah. You with me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because now you can figure out what they have. Okay, so now let's add some numbers to it. So let's say together they had, gotta do the math in my head, 56 pieces. Where does that go? You would want to keep your bar, and you can erase and draw again, like, oh, my bars are too big. So the total goes on the outside here, because that's all of them. Yep, it's fine. All right, so how much do they all? How much did Sarah have? How much did Mike have?
14. Well, 14 times 3.
See, bar modeling is not going to be super. If they still don't know what that picture shows them, they still don't know what to do, right? They still have to see, oh, I have 56 pieces that has been divided into 4 equal pieces, so I still need to know how to divide 4 into 56. Which is, what did you say? 14? Sarah, or whatever her name was, has... So how much does Mike have?
42.
Here we are. Sarah has 14, Mike has 42. So they still have to like know what the picture shows them to do, but it gives those people that are lost in words, it gives them an idea.
Yeah, I love that.
All right, so you have a handout, and obviously we are not going to get through all of those. Always better to be more prepared than not prepared. So we're just going to go through a couple.
Excuse me, do you teach the kids the terms comparison, continuous?
No. No, and I mean you could, but I don't know that it serves any point.
Yeah.
Confuse them maybe.
All right, so here's the first one. 3 friends, you should have a handout somewhere. 3 friends saved money over the summer. Kim saved $545, Caitlin saved $630, Aaron saved $35 more than Caitlin. What is the total amount of money saved by the 3 friends? Your low readers, what do?
Blank out
the numbers.
And they have checked out. That's exactly right. That's exactly what they do. They check out because they see blah, blah, blah. So tell them, all right, 3 friends saved money over the summer. Is there any math information?
Yes, 3 friends.
3 friends. Can I draw on this?
Yes.
It works. All right, so here's my 3 friends, right? Right now they're all equal. That's all I know. There's 3 people. All right, Kim. Oh, there's Kim. Saved $545. So, and this can be total teacher choice. Some teachers like to put the 545 here. Some teachers like to put the 545 here. Some teachers like to put the 545 here. Okay? If you only have 1 bar, out here is good with me, but if you had multiple bars, then you want the total, that gets confusing. So I would not suggest this, but an inside can get confusing if they have to subtract
it,
because then they're marking out the number. So I just put it up there, but it's total, whatever floats your boat is how you can do it. All right, and then let's see, Kim saved 5. Caitlin saved 630. So now I need to add more to Caitlin. And Aaron, oops, sorry. Aaron saved 35 more than Caitlin. So I need to draw Caitlin plus, now I'm going to put the 35 here. Because you're going to have those kids that says Aaron saved 35. And they're going to draw 35 for Aaron.
Right.
But that is not what it says. And that's where bar modeling helps because they see the whole sentence. So this is Aaron. What is the total amount? Here's my total. And now when you break it down into this pictorial picture, your low readers are like, oh, okay, I see the math problem here, if they're good at math. So I have, first I got to find out what?
Aaron, how much?
Aaron. And we know that this is 630 because it's the same size as, so she has 665, right? And then again, it's not going to do the math for them. My handwriting is terrible on this.
That is something about this board, it's true. I have the same trouble.
I don't have that bad.
No, it's.
Add them together. I think it's 13. Oh, that should be a 14. 6 and 6 and 6 is 18. I believe. Is that right? Again, if you want them to write it in a sentence, woo, I don't care. Just circle your answer so I know what it is. I know that's probably, yeah, that's probably the last step. Whatever.
Well, actually, it's the second step now. They just fill in the blank.
Oh. Oh, okay.
And the reason I think that they do that, which I do kind of like that, because it makes them think about what question they're answering.
Right.
Otherwise, sometimes they'll just like let's say it's how much more, let's say, let's say the question, how much did Aaron save? But they automatically will add them all together. So if they have to think about what the question is ahead of time,
Right.
that does help some of them. And I find in 3rd grade, even the kids who don't need to use bar modeling normally cannot do these problems without drawing it out.
Without drawing, yeah.
What's the expectation? Like, when they get into middle, like, are the middle school, are they expecting them to write incomplete sentences? So is that something that we need to practice, or I guess that's, because I'm confused. At first I
Well,
wasn't,
they're
but
not
then
doing
I
bar
was the-
models in middle school, I know that.
but I thought they said something, like Cindy said something about complete sentences.
Mhm.
So
I mean,
they should
everybody
be
likes
right.
complete sentences because it makes your students like more intelligent if you talk
They
complete sentences.
understand.
Like we
Right, so
went
that
through a
would be
phrase
writing the
where
answer.
anytime you asked the student a question, they had to stand up and say the answer in a complete sentence. Like it just depends upon
Used to be you could just say for, or like let's say it was how many balls did they have? You had to put the word
4
balls,
Right, right.
you know,
Yeah.
15
You had to
balls.
label your answer.
But
I just feel like as a teacher, if I have you struggling with math, I don't need to add grammar into my math. I mean, but that's me. I'm not your boss. So like,
Yeah.
it's whatever your school
yeah,
tells
so
you
we
to
need
do.
to decide, because also what Julie's telling us is different from what that other guy told us. So here's the thing, whatever we do, Kelly needs to know it because she comes and judges us on, you know what I mean?
Does he tell you to go through all those steps?
Yeah.
Do you not think that though that is like, and I'm not bashing him or Singapore, but is that not Americanizing Singapore? Because
Step by
you're
step.
going step by
Steps.
step and you're robots instead of actually, let's read this sentence and visualize what
Do
you
we
have.
call it steps, or could it be thought of as process? You're going through a process to get to the answer, but the process is they're all Singapore processes. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everything that's been laid out, like from this book back here,
Right, you just want to
it's a
get,
process.
right, and you just want the students to be able to just do it automatically though without
But
having
which
to
will
go.
come as they go through the processes. And he was dealing a lot with kindergarten through 2nd grade. So they're just learning the processes at that point in time.
Oh, okay.
And which all changes as you get to the
Well,
older
kindergarten
grades.
can't do all
No,
this
not
stuff.
this. We were talking about Dr. Ecker, what he had done. in his training. And
Was geared more for
basically it
K1
was
too.
geared towards the younger
Which makes sense.
kids. So it may be why he talked about steps. Just a thought.
Yeah. I mean, it's whatever.
I do think it's frustrating for kids that don't need to do the bars,
Right.
because then they're like, do we have to do the bar, and like, we're looking at the curriculum thinking, yeah, and after that training, but I'm like, some kids don't.
I
But
told
why?
mine,
Why?
if you
It's
make
just a
100, you don't
strategy.
have to do bars
just a
anymore.
strategy.
And she took me up
Yeah.
on that. I made 100, do I have to do bars? I was
It's
like,
just a
no,
strategy.
I guess
That's
not.
right.
Yeah.
It's not like, it's not what you teach.
Yeah.
It's a strategy to how to get them to understand that.
Exactly.
So it
I
shouldn't,
agree.
I don't think it should be forced. And the goal is to do it in your head. I mean, that's the goal. That's math. So, I mean,
Well, and actually, when you think about it, in the lesson, in the Singapore book, they teach the bar models, but they do not teach.
no, they don't.
Yeah.
No, this is American. This is where American people have taken the steps and made it like American. Like, that's not what Singapore had in mind at the beginning, was just they teach the bars to help you visualize the information, but they don't. I mean, I've sat in Ben Har Yeep, who's like the major dude, and he doesn't go through steps. He doesn't like put your. I mean, he doesn't even do this. This is just because I've taught 5th and 6th grade math, and I know like they need to know that for later on in the time.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so you learn as you go, like what works and what doesn't, and so. Yes, when I was in 4th grade here, I did it like I said, the marble, and I made them go through the steps. Write the person's name and make sure your bars are the perfect size. And if this one's shorter than this one, it's got to be proportionally short. You're losing them. You're losing them in all the junk that has
It's
nothing
true.
to do with the math.
That's right. That's right. Okay. Thank you.
But that's me. So again, I don't write your checks.
No.
Well,
All right.
he was
Well,
like that
we
too.
value-
He was like, it's not following a certain pattern, it's just doing it. That's a lot of what he said. Not,
Yeah. But he did say they had to be proportional.
well, not exactly.
Well,
but
yours are
just to
proportional
show.
too.
Yeah, I try to
it has
go
to
on
be
the
bigger
pattern.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
I try to make it as proportionate as possible, but like when you get into
That's
fractions
how
and
you're
you've drawn a
visually-
bar and you need to do like 7, well, when I'm doing them like this and I get down here, okay, well, I just add another one. Like,
Yeah.
I don't go back and erase to make it beautiful.
Yeah,
I'm not in
no.
art class. I'm not trying to make a beautiful drawing. I'm trying to like make it make sense.
Right.
So that's where you don't get lost in the details.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. So do we need to stop? Are we good? Are you good with bar model?
Yeah.
You have a whole thing that you can do when you're bored. 'Cause I gave you like 4 pages of them. Because I tried to go through like different examples that I would have taught in 4th and 5th grade. But it works with, I mean, it really, when my husband was like, oh, I'd have to think about these, and I drew the bar model, and I was like, why? He was like, oh, yeah, no, I don't. So, it really does help. And do you also have copies of that book?
Somewhere around, is that one I just ordered?
I have one that I
Kelly
took.
All of these came out of here. So if you have this book, and it actually even teaches you how to do it. Like it has all the answers in there. So if you wanted to do it and like see like,
get it. I bought it when I went to the
Training.
but again, I mean, this is
It's a little
written by
different.
Shar Foster, who at Forston, who was a big, huge Singapore thing like 10
Yeah.
years ago. But she even Americanizes it. Like she's got step 1, step 2. Again, I wouldn't get lost in the steps. I mean, you do want to organize your kids' thinking. That's why you do the steps, because some kids are so unorganized in their brains that the steps
Yeah, that's the
help
one
them.
she has.
But I don't think you want to get, well, did you do step 1? Like, I don't think, I've seen a rubric on Teachers Pay Teachers for bar model. And it was like that. Did you label the problem? Did you write in a complete sentence? And you would grade, like, did you get the right answer?
Right.
Like,
I think for me it helps to follow the problem. Like
Right. Yeah.
which that's not always. I mean, yes, read the whole problem, but to follow the
Yeah.
problem helps.
I
you.
don't even read the whole problem. Like I go sentence by sentence because if I read the whole problem, I'm lost. So I would go sentence. Liz earned $500 as her weekly pay. Draw it.
Whoops.
I don't know.
Yeah, if you touch it, it
Goes to the next page.
But yeah, that makes
And then
sense.
she paid $413 to cover her bills. Cross off the $413 that she used. How much money does she have left? Draw your question mark in the part that doesn't cross off. There you go. You got your math problem.
Now, one thing that we've done a lot of is like labeling the parts and the holes of it. Is that something?
Like
that
we'll
you
ask
do
them,
at
is
all?
this, have they given us the part or have they given us the whole?
That's important.
Yeah, I think that's
really,
important.
really
Yeah.
do that a lot because
It's-
I say, if
helps
you know
them
what to
understand.
do, then you know what to do. I mean,
Right.
if you know what you're looking for, you know
Right.
what to do.
Exactly.
It's helped the fourth
Yeah.
graders. They can, like, you know, the Tyler and the Chris, where they, you know, they can see that. So it's helped.
Because there's like no exception. If you are looking for a part, you're going to do these two
You're gonna put 'em
operations.
together.
If you're
Right.
looking for a hole, you're going to do these two
Right,
operations.
right. All right, well, I hope this has been helpful.
It has
Yeah,
been.
yeah,
It's great.
yes.
Very
Wonderful.
good. Thank you.
Always be in contact through Debbie, so if you have questions or whatever you need, I'm here for you.
Great. Thank you.
So
Yeah.
do you do like a problem of the day, or do you do this like embedded with whatever unit you're teaching? If you're
That is a
doing
good
fractions?
question. You could, it's totally teacher discretion. So I went through a phase where whenever I was teaching, I did a word problem, and I always made sure it was whatever the content I was teaching that day, because that is kind of how it is taught on the test, where it's taking it that one step further. But then I also go through a phase where, like, I just had a random problem, and actually that became a center, like where they would have a random problem, and then we'd have an actual word problem. So
That book that Debbie gave us last year, the warm, like the little sections, it's like every day. I use that for my morning, like their
Oh,
math
yeah.
review, and there is every week.
Mhm.
Eventually, there's a word problem. So
Is
it's
it
like
the one did I get it online?
Yeah,
and
you
print
did.
it
it was
out?
a TPT one. I don't know, but you gave them to us
Right.
last year.
Teachers.
The binder.
I started it
Mhm.
at the minute, like when you gave it to us last year. I started it, and I was like, oh, but I didn't really get. Now I started at the
Was it
beginning.
that notebook she ran off
It's a
for
big
us?
binder,
I
yeah.
don't know. It's
The
a
binder,
blue-
oh,
I'll
I
show
never
it to
saw
you.
the
It's-
math one, you have the math one.
I have the math.
It's a
and she
Monday.
has
There's
the-
just 5 problems. It goes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and that's what they do. That's their
We
morning
needed
routine. They
some
do,
spiral review.
and it's
so,
all spiraled.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's stuff that that was on it that we didn't cover yet, but I kept telling the kids it's exposure. Like we'll get to it, and now we're getting the fractions. Well, we spent the first few weeks, like since September, doing. Now they did it in a mono, in a pictorial way, but. It's all gonna make, like I keep telling them, and I'm excited because I can see it now this year, how it's making sense, and so it's constantly spiral, like every other week is the same skills, and I start actually picking them, and using them as, you know, assessments for those that we've already covered, so like, these are ones you definitely need to know or should be able to do, and so that's been helpful. I mean, I don't know how that pertains to what this is, but I know there is a word problem every week, and, because I know when that man came in, I was kind of like, bar model thing. Wow, let's do the bar model thing. But yeah, so I don't know.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's good.
Frog
It's
is
great.
a good publication
Frog?
that has review. It has every worksheet is broken down into the 10 subtopics of math. So you'll have like just
You
straight
use that for
computation. Yeah.
Is
and
that
lesson.
online or?
I think we looked at
Frog,
that,
yeah.
Didn't we?
It's Frog Publications. They have
I
like all
think we
kinds of
looked
games
at
and
it
stuff.
one year, but I don't know. what we-
I think it's like $40 for a book, but you buy that book and you make copies out of it. But
Okay.
I always used, I would buy, when I taught 5th grade, I bought the 4th grade edition and started it in January. And every day they had to do one,
So you did a year below.
a year below.
for practice.
Because it's all the review, like it's
Mhm.
review stuff.
Right.
So it would have like 5 or 10 questions on just computation, and then it would have like a section on like fractions, and it would have a section on geometry. It would have a section on, so it helped me review for the test the things that I hadn't got to, even though it was a year behind. I mean, fourth and 5th grade, you do the same thing.
So should I
And
get
5th grade
a,
and 6th grade, you do the same thing.
should I get a
So-
2nd grade one and a 3rd grade one and a 4th grade one?
Yes. For this group, yes.
Okay.
But
And
it's, I
then
mean, it's
you
really
guys
good.
can make
Although, do
that
you think we
sure.
would still use the 2nd grade one? Because that is a big
Yeah, I would
jump.
look at it and see. Because,
Yeah.
yeah, I would agree with you. It really is.
From 2nd to
From
3rd is a big
second to
jump.
Oh, okay.
And they should be fine to do the 3rd starting in January. I mean, you might could do 3rd starting in January, 4th starting in January. Because it's for the whole, so there's like 180 of them. But, I mean, I only did it half a year because
Maybe-
they didn't know all the
Why
content.
don't I just buy a 3rd and 4th grade book and we'll look at it and decide from there, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Well, have a great
Thank you
lunch.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good to see you.